At the mention of the word interview, a lot of us just freak out. But we don't really need to freak out, we just need to be more prepared. Hello beautiful people, you're welcome to my channel. This is Tito here. How are you doing today? Hope you're good, hope you're well, hope you're bright, and hope you are doing your very best. Now I want to talk about 15 interview questions, likely interview questions for teachers. So where's your pen and your book? Let's do this together. Okay, have you ever attended an interview? If you're an employee, definitely you must have attended at least one interview. Okay, so what have you learned from the interview? Which one went well? Which one did not go well? What did you learn? And what has made you stronger in terms of interviews? And you know, we have different confidence level. So some of us are really very confident. We are prepared any day and any time. Some of us have to work on ourselves. But it does not mean that the interviewer does not understand that you could be nervous, all right? But you don't have to be unprepared. So as much as possible, whenever you have an interview, you should be very much prepared. So I'm going to share with you some likable questions, okay? So permit me to look into my precious little book. So one of those questions, and I'll advise you just write them down. You know, my own answer might be different from your own answer. So just write the questions down. Think about your own response. It depends on the setting, depends on the individual. And even sometimes you need to know that some interviewers had already prepared questions, but they might navigate when they are discussing with you. Okay, for example, let's see if you're being asked a question and you've given an answer that is interesting either ways, and they want to probe further, all right, to really know your depth of understanding. So they might keep going on and on and on to know more about that particular thing you're talking about, okay, so which might make them sometimes deviate from their own planned questions. It's just in the light of getting to know you more, understanding your skills, how capable you are to fill in the role. Okay, so a lot of things also go in the minds of your interviewer. Now, the first question I want to mention today is they could ask you a question like, explain one area of your teaching that you really excel at. Okay, now this is a question that you'll be thinking, okay, what area? That means your that area that you can use to wow them, that really works for you so well, so well at. Okay, so that's one question that you might be asked. So it's left for you. Maybe if you're a math teacher, tell them something that make the children go boom, for them to like math. If you're a language teacher, if you're a kindergarten teacher, just mention what you excel at, which you know. All right, so let's go to number 2. Now the second question could be, what's your biggest strength and weakness as a teacher? All right, some teachers are good in classroom management, some are good in decoration, some are good in differentiation, some are good with lesson planning, some are good with, and you can be, of course, you might have so many skills, so many strengths. And when it comes to your weakness, we think, okay, should I tell them the fact that I need to work on? So if you have to answer that, the weakness part, okay, what you just need to do is be very realistic about it and still be positive about your weakness, all right, by saying, I think I need to work more on so and so, all right. So that will help you to frame your answer to that question. Now moving to number 3, and my third question is, how would you support children with English as a second language? Let me take that again. How would you support children that have English as their second language? Now, peradventure, you're going to work in a new country, or you're going to work in a new environment where they don't speak your language, and they're thinking, okay, you're coming to teach our children English, and English is their second language. So how are you going to help them? Now, you need to be able to give a good answer to this. Some teachers, of course, we expect you to speak well as a teacher. And we also expect that you have a kind of training in teaching English as a second language. So if, for example, you've done a TEFL course, or if you've done a CELTA course, or whatever it is, that is a good way of letting them know that you're well equipped to also do that, even if you've done IELTS. Okay, so it's for you to tell them, oh, you're grounded in this, you know how to break down grammar, you know how to do this, and all of that. So that should help in your answer. So also, another question I have is, what strategy do you use to motivate children to learn? What strategy do you use to motivate children to learn? I'm sure as a teacher, this is something that you should have right here at your fingertips. So you need to wow them with your strategy on what works for you and what is really your own winning number. Okay, so number 6 will be, what would you do if there's a friction within your teaching team that you are not happy about? Okay, now we know the world is not just about you teaching and everything. There is a high focus on you being a team player, you being collaborative. Okay, it's not just about, oh, me and my room, I know what to do, I don't care about what is happening in others, whatever, we're having a meeting, I don't need to say anything. No, you should be somebody who have a good team spirit, you're collaborative in nature, you're willing to share, you're willing to feel, to have an impact on your team. And peradventure you're not happy with maybe something going on, how do you express it? You know, do you have a constructive and mature way of expressing your thoughts? Because sometimes you might have a good reason to be upset, okay? But if you do not express it in a good way, you might not get the desired result, which is actually to be wanting to be heard. All right, I hope that helps. And as individuals, we are always working on how to make ourselves better. All right, so I will take number 6 now. How might you handle a difficult situation with a parent? How might you handle a difficult situation with a parent? This is one question that is, okay, now you have to be realistic. Once this kind of question is thrown at you, you have to be able to be diplomatic in your head, just the way you'll be diplomatic if you're actually facing that concern in the school where you work. We know parents can be difficult sometimes, but there's always a background to things, and how professional you are would help, address the situation. So please think and reflect on your own thoughts about how you're able to handle, or if you've not experienced a difficult parent before, how do you think you'll be able to handle it? All right, so let's go. So number 7, why should you or why do you want to work in our school? Okay, to make money. Right, just kidding. All right, so they might ask you a question that, why would you want to work in our school? There are so many schools around in the country or in the town, so why do you choose our school? So you need to answer them. And with this kind of question, you should have done your own homework well. Thank God for Google. All right, once you know you have an interview, you'll have gone online, check the website from the beginning to the very end. Okay, check the vision, the mission, the values, the extracurricular activities they do, their teachers. Some schools actually have pictures of their teachers' website. They have their children's activity, so you see what actually stands the school out, okay, and how you're thinking that being in the school will be a plus to the school. So please, with due diligence, you should be able to answer this question as sweetly and as easily as possible. How do you assess your children's work? Now, this is very important, okay? So you need to tell them, okay, if your assessment is formative, if it's summative or whatever it is. So you need to let them know the methods you use to assess your children's work. Okay, so let's go to number 9. So how do you handle a child situation confidentially? As a teacher, you might be privileged to some information about a particular child, but how do you handle it? So they want to know if you have a level of professionalism and a level of confidentiality, okay? Because we are not supposed to be divulging information about our children and, be loose with talks about them. No, it's not expected. So you need to answer them as professionally as you can. All right, let's move. Okay, number 10 now. Oh, that's very quick. Number 10, why do you want to teach abroad? I'm adding this for candidates or applicants for schools abroad. So why do you want to teach abroad? So you need to let them know. Okay, we know we are doing, or we are going to, we always get another job to make more money. We are also doing another job to get more challenges, to get more experience. So you need to tell them why you desire to teach abroad. Or yours might just be even in the same community, and also it might just be another town or another country or another state. So you need to give your reason for that. Now, number 11, what do you think you can bring to our school? This is very important. Okay, now as an employee or as an interviewer, you're coming into a school that's already in existence, even if it's a new school, and we're expecting you to bring value. Yeah, we're expecting you to make an impact. So what are you bringing to the table? It's not just you coming to work. What is that thing that you think you can do? Are you good with creating and scheduling and implementing extracurricular activity? So there must be something very unique about you that you can bring to the table. Okay, so let's see, number 12. What would you think your biggest challenge will be? What would you think your biggest challenge will be? So here you have to be very factual as usual to tell them, okay, I think my biggest challenge will be settling in or trying to understand the system and all of that. So you need to be very expressive. You need to be real. If you really know yourself, you shouldn't be afraid to answer any questions, really. But please be diplomatic, be positive, be bright, all right? When you're being interviewed, you can't expect to be interviewed and you look all forlorn, sad, uninspired. Of course, you won't want to do that. No matter how nervous you are, you have to bring up your A game and be the light of the room. Okay, so let's see. I think we're on number 13 now. All right, so my number 13 is what type of technology can you use? Okay, or what's your level of the use of technology? All right, so you will tell them if you're able to use LMS management system, you're able to use Zoom to teach, you're able to use Google Meet, and anything you know how to do. Okay, so you're going to be able to tell them, oh, this is what I use in my technology. I use technology to do this. Because, guys, this is the age of technology. You need to be very confident with your use of technology. So if you're still not very confident with your use of technology, start now. Start using it. Start practicing it. You know, last year, 2020, really taught us a lot about technology. And those of us who were not fully integrated into the technology aspect of teaching, we had to just find our way in there. Okay, even schools that were always using technology had to boost it further. All right, so that's it. Now the 14th question will be, what would your expected salary be? In your mind eye, you have an idea of what you think will be good for you, and so it's at your discretion. Maybe sometimes you have somebody in-house who are giving you an idea to say, okay, entry level of so qualification will earn so amount of money. If you have that information, good for you. If you do not, just say what you think is reasonable, all right? And let them know how flexible you could be. Don't go and be unrealistic by just calling an amount of money that would make you price yourself out of the market, okay? Because I'm thinking if you're a new person in teaching, what you will quote definitely will be different from somebody who has been teaching for 5 years, 10 years. It's going to be way different. So you need to understand that and be as relatable as possible when it comes to that. Now, the last but not the least, which is number 15, likable question that you can be asked if you're called, you know, if you have an interview, is okay, let me see. I think I just added that. You could be asked, you could be asked that how do you address individual learning strategy? For example, now the real element of teaching has to do with you meeting all the learners at the point of their needs. So how do you address each learner in your room? Okay, so if you're still this generalistic teacher who feel that you just have to stand in front of the children and just teach. Oh, I have this topic to teach, types of plants, I'm doing this and that's it. No, you have to, in this century and in 2021, you should know as a teacher that you're meant to differentiate your children's activity, because in that room you're going to have children at their different level of attainment, you know, and the level of learning and all of that. So you need to have differentiated worksheets. You need to also have various activities to cater for your visual learners, audio learners, kinesthetic learners, and all of that. So that will make you need to use language, the language of teaching. Okay, when you're in a teaching interview, you will not just sound so normal, so general. You need to be using words, okay, like differentiation, teaching styles, you know, motivation, lesson planning, starter, plenary, okay. Then also, you know, at the end, I think I've done the 15 questions I promised to do in this video, but I'm going to add some extra tips. What are those questions that you might likely ask? Because some interviewers are so, let me see, they are so reflective that they will ask you, okay, do you have any questions for me, or do you have any questions for us? This is not the time for you to keep quiet and just be looking, or just think that you're going to ask, are you going to call me for the job? Not exactly. I think one of the questions you can ask is, what mentorship program do you have in your school? Or what induction program do you have in your school? That shows that you are interested in the job and you really want to, you know, to settle in very quickly. So I think that's a wise question that you should ask. What induction program do you have? What mentorship program do you have? Okay, then you can also you can also ask a question. Now you are the one asking this question. You can also say, okay, what professional development programs do you have in your school? What are the opportunities for professional development in your school? This is also very important. Don't say because I have B.Ed in English, or don't say, oh, because I have 5 years experience already, I don't need further experience. No. One of the best things that can happen to a teacher is to be in a school where professional development is top notch. I'm telling you. So you need to, you know, asking your interviewer that question to ask, okay, what are the opportunities for professional development in your beautiful school? Will make them think, oh, this is somebody that is thinking. All right. So don't just feel that interview is just for only you being asked questions. If you're given an avenue to ask to ask a question, please do so. And even if you're not, you can just ask or say, sorry, I have a question or two. Can I go ahead? And they will tell you, oh, sure. So don't see interview as, you know, you being clamped somewhere or you being in a tight corner. No, it will make you even think. And there are sometimes, even if you don't end up being successful in that interview, right? There are sometimes that what you've learned, what you've heard will help you in your next interview. I hope I'm making sense. So don't just think that, oh, I've had that interview, they didn't call me, it's closed. You need to learn. You need to, okay, they asked me so question. Okay. So it's going to help you. It's a journey. All right. And one day, just one day, you might be the one seated as the interviewer interviewing other people. But one thing is very important that I would say, I've been privileged to be on both sides of the divide, okay? And I would say that, you know, being an interviewer means that you have a wealth of experience, right? Because most of the time in the panels, you're having the head teacher, you're having maybe the CEO, the director, you're having the head of department, you're having teachers who have maybe been in the school with so number of years of experience. So you're having people who know. All right, so we should thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. I'm sure to see you in my next video. Bye for now.